Shalom. Welcome to day 128 of Daily Bread. We'll be reading Numbers chapter 23, 2 Kings 13, Psalms 125, Proverbs 8, Book of Acts chapter 25. Numbers will be in the Scriptures 2009. Scriptures is 23, Numbers 23 is on page 167. And Bileam said to Balak, "Build 7 slaughter places for me here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me here." And Balak did as Bileam had spoken. And Balak and Bileam offered a bull and a ram on each slaughter place. And Bileam then said to Balak, "Stand by your ascending offering, and let me go on. It might be that Yahweh does come to meet me, and whatever he shows me I shall declare to you." And he went to a bare height. And Elohim came to Bileam, and he said to him, "I have prepared the 7 slaughter places, and I have offered on each a slaughter place a bull and a ram." And Yahweh put a word in the mouth of Bileam and said, "Return to Balak, and this is what you say." And he returned to him, and he saw him standing by his ascending offering, and he said, and he and all the heads of Moab. And he took up his proverb and said, "Balak the sovereign of Moab has brought me from Aram, from the mountains of the east. Come curse Jacob for me, and come rage at Israel. How do I curse whom El has not cursed? How do I rage at whom Yahweh has not raged? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I observe him. Look, a people dwelling alone, not reckoning itself among the nations. Who shall count the dust of Jacob, and the number of the 1/4 of Israel? Let me die the death of the upright, and let my end be like his." And Balak said to Bileam, "What have you done to me? I took you to curse my enemies, and look, you have kept on blessing." And he answered and said, "Should I not take heed to speak what Yahweh has put in my mouth?" And Balak said to him, "Please come with me to another place from where you see them. You only see the extremity, but not all of them. Curse them for me from there." And he took him to the field of Sephim, to the top of Pisgah, and built 7 slaughter places, and offered a bull and a ram on each slaughter place. And he said to Balak, "Stand here by your ascending offering, while I meet over there." And Yahweh came to Bileam, and put a word in his mouth, and said, "Go back to Balak, and say this." So he went to him, and saw him standing by the ascending offering, and the heads of Moab with him. And Balak asked him, "What did Yahweh say?" And he took up his proverb and said, "Rise up, Balak, and hear. Listen me, son of Zippor. El is not a man to lie, nor a son of man to repent. Has he said, and would he not do it? Or spoken, and would not confirm it? See, I have received to bless, and he has blessed, and I do not reverse it. He has not looked upon wickedness in Jacob, nor has he seen trouble in Israel. Yahweh his Elohim is with him, and the shout of the sovereign is in him. El, who brought him out of Mizraim, is for them like the horns of a wild ox. For there is no sorcery against Jacob, nor is there any divination against Israel. Now it is said to Jacob and to Israel, what has El done? Look, a people rises like a lioness and lifts itself up like a lion. It lies down until it devours the prey and drinks the blood of the slain. And Balak said to Biliam, do not curse them at all, nor bless them at all. And Biliam answered and said to Balak, have I not spoken you, saying, all that Yahweh speaks that I do? And Balak said to Biliam, please come, let me take you to another place. It might be right in the eyes of Elohim that you curse them for me from there. And Balak took Biliam to the top of Peor that overlooks the wasteland. And Biliam and said to Balak, build 7 slaughter places for me there, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me there. And Balak did as Biliam had said, and offered a bull and ram on each slaughter place. Dude's trying to. I'm like, okay, you gotta give him credit. Moving on to 2 Kings, chapter 13, on page 396. In the 23rd year of Joash, the son of Azar, sovereign of Judah, Jehoshaphat, son of Judah, began to reign over Israel and Samaria, and reigned 17 years. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and followed the sins of Joram, son of Nehabat, who had made Israel sin. He did not turn away from them. And the displeasure of Yahweh burned against Israel. And he gave them into the hand of Hazael, sovereign of Aram, and into the hand of Ben-Hadad, son of Hazael, all the days. Then Jehoshaphat sought the face of Yahweh, and Yahweh listened to him. For he saw the oppression of Israel, because the sovereign of Aram oppressed them. And Yahweh gave Israel a savior, so that they came out from under the hand of Aram. And the children of Israel dwelt in their tents as before. However, they did not turn away from their sins of the house of Joram, who had made Israel sin, but walked in them. Moreover, the Ashim also remained in Samaria, for he left of the army of Jehoshaphat only 50 horsemen and 10 chariots, and 10,000 footmen, for the sovereign of Aram had destroyed them and made them like the dust at threshing. And the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, and all he did, and his might, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Israel? So Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers, and they buried him in Samaria, and Yosha his son reigned in his place. In the 37th year of Joash, sovereign of Judah, Joash, son of Jehoshaphat, began to reign over Israel in 16 years, Samaria 16 years. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahweh. He did not turn away from all the sins of Joram, son of Nebat, who made Israel sin. He walked in it. And the rest of the acts of Joash, and all that he did, and his might, with which he fought against Yamath, sovereign of Judah, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereign of Israel? So Yoshe slept with his fathers, and Joram sat on his throne, and Joash was buried in Samaria with the sovereigns of Israel. And Elisha had become sick with the sickness in which he died. And Joash, the sovereign of Israel, came down to him and wept over his face and said, O my father, the chariots of Israel and their horsemen. And Elisha said to him, take a bow and some arrows. He took a bow and some arrows. And he said to the sovereign of Israel, place your hand on the bow. So he placed his hand. And Elisha placed his hands on the hands of the sovereign and said, open the east window. And he opened it. And Elisha said, shoot. And he shot. Then he said, the arrow of deliverance of Yahweh, and the arrow of deliverance of Aram. For you shall strike Aram at Yaphi until it is finished. Then he said, Take the arrows. And he took them, and he said to the sovereign of Israel, Strike the ground. And he struck the ground 3 times and stopped. And the man of Elohim was wroth with him and said, You should have struck 5 or 6 times. Then you would have stricken Aram until its utter destruction. But now you shall strike Aram only 3 times. And Elisha died, and they buried him. And the raiding bands from Moab came into the land into the spring of that year. And it came to be they were burying a man, and they saw a raiding band, and cast the man into the burial site of Elisha. And the man fell and touched the bones of Elisha, and came to life and stood on his feet. And Hazael, sovereign of Aram, oppressed Israel all the days of Jehoshaphat. But Yahweh showed favor to them, and had compassion on them, and turned toward them, for the sake of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and would not destroy them, or cast them from his presence as yet. And Hazael, sovereign of Aram, died, and Ben-Hadad, his son, reigned in his place. And Yehoshua, son of Jehoshaphat, recovered from the hand of Ben-Hadad, son of Hazael, the cities which he had taken out of the hand of Jehoshaphat his father in battle. Joash struck him 3 times, and he recovered the cities of Israel. On to Psalms 125, on page 720. Those who trust in Yahweh are like Mount Zion. It is not shaken, it remains forever. As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so Yahweh surrounds his people, now and forever. For the scepter of wrongness shall not rest on the land allotted to the righteous, lest the righteous stretch forth their hands to unrighteousness. Do good, O Yahweh, to those who are good, and to those who are upright in their hearts. But those who turn aside to their crooked ways, Yahweh shall lead them away. With the workers of wickedness, peace be upon Israel. Proverbs 8 on page 736. Does not wisdom call, and understanding lift up her voice? Up to the top of the heights along the way, between the paths she has taken her stand, between the gates leading to the city, at the entrances she shouts, O man, I call to you, and my voice is to the sons of men, you simple ones. Understand insight, for your fools be of an understanding heart. Listen, for I speak noble words, and the opening of my lips is about straightness. For my mouth speaks truth, and wrongness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness, none of them twisted or crooked, all of them plain to him who understands, and straight to those who find knowledge. Accept my discipline and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all delights are not comparable to her. I, wisdom, have dwelt with insight, and I find knowledge foresight. The fear of Yahweh is to hate evil. I have hated pride and arrogance, and the evil way, and the perverse mouth. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding. Mightiness is mine. By me sovereigns reign, and rulers make righteous inscriptions. By me princes rule, and nobles all the judges of the earth. I love those who love me, and those who earnestly seek me do find me. Riches and esteem are with me, enduring wealth and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold and fine gold, and my increase better than choice silver. I walk in the way of righteousness in the midst of the paths of right ruling, to bestow substance on those who love me, and to fill their treasuries. Yahweh possessed me, the beginning of his way, as the first of his works of old. I was set up ages ago, at the first, before the earth ever was. When there was no depths, I was brought forth. When there was no heavy springs with water, before mountains were sunk, before the hills, I was brought forth. Before he had made the earth and fields, or the first dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he inscribed the circle on the face of the deep, when he set the clouds above, when he made the fountains of the deep strong, when he gave the sea its law so that waters would not transgress his mouth, when he inscribed the foundations of the earth, then I was beside him, a master workman, and I was his delight day by day, rejoicing before him all the time. Rejoicing in the world, his earth, and my delights were with the sons of men. And now listen to me, you children, for blessed are they who guard my ways, listen to discipline, and become wise, and do not refuse it. Blessed is the man who listens to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the post of my doors. For whoever finds me shall find life and obtain favor from Yahweh. But he who sins against me injures himself. All who hate me love death. Acts 25 on page 1083. Festus, therefore, having come to the province 3 days later, went up from Caesarea to Jerusalem. And the high priest and the chief men of the Judean informed him against Saul, and they begged him, asking a favor against him, that he would send him to Jerusalem, making a plot along the way to kill him. Then indeed Festus answered that Saul should be kept at Caesarea, and that he himself was about to set out shortly. Therefore he said, let those who have authority among you go down with me and accuse this man, to see if there is any fault in him. And having spent more than 10 days among them, he went down to Caesarea. And on to the next day, sitting on the judgment seat, he commanded Saul to be brought. And when he had come, the Judean who had come down from Jerusalem stood about, bringing many and heavy charges against Saul, which they were unable to prove, while Saul said in his own defense, neither against the Torah of the Judean, nor against the set-apart place, nor against Caesar did I commit any sin. But Festus, wishing to do the Judean a favor, answering Saul, said, do you wish to go up to Jerusalem and be judged before me there concerning these matters? And Saul said, I am standing at Caesar's judgment seat, where I should be judged. To the Judean I have done no wrong, as you know well enough. For if indeed I did do wrong, or have committed whatever deserving of death, I do not refuse to die. But there is none at all in these matters of which these men accuse me. No one is able to give me up to them. I am able to appeal to Caesar. And Festus, having talked with the council, answered, you have an appeal to Caesar. To Caesar you shall go. And certain days having passed, Sovereign Agrippa and Bernice came to Caesarea to greet Festus. And when they had spent many days there, Festus laid Saul's case before the sovereign, saying, there is a man here whom Felix left as a prisoner, about whom the chief priests and the elders of Judaea informed me when I was in Jerusalem, asking for a judgment against him. To them I answered, it is not the Roman practice to give up any man to destruction before the accused meets the accusers face to face and has a chance to answer for himself concerning the charge against him. They, therefore, having come together without delay, I sat on the judgment seat the next day and commanded the man to be brought in. When the accusers stood up, they brought no charges against him, such as I expected, but had questions against him about their own worship and about a certain Yeshua who had died, whom Shaul was claiming to be alive. And being uncertain how to investigate these matters, I asked whether he wished to go up to Jerusalem and there be judged concerning these matters. But Shaul appealed to be kept for the decision of Augustus. I ordered him to be kept until I sent him to Caesar. And Agrippa said to Festus, I was wishing also to hear the man myself. And he said, tomorrow you shall hear him. Therefore, on the next day, Agrippa and Bernice, having come with great show and having entered the palace of hearing with the commanders and the eminent men of the city, Shaul was brought in, and at the order of Festus. And Festus said, Sovereign Agrippa, and all these men present here with us, you see this about whom all the community of Judea pleaded with me, both at Jerusalem and here, shouting that he ought not to be living any longer. But I, having found that he had committed none at all deserving death, and that he himself has appealed to Augustus, and I decided to send him. I have no definite matter to write to my master concerning him. Therefore I had brought him out before you, and most of all before you, Sovereign Agrippa, so that after the examination has taken place, I might have somewhat to write. For it seems to be unreasonable to send a prisoner and not to signify the charges against him. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible. Talk to the Father.